you try also to let men's habitus and this practice of women social practice here. And then you already give examples about how the transformation of the fashion code, which means that there is transformation of fashion code used by the something, for example, of men. From 1960 until now, it's always changing, it's always transforming. So, if the habitus is mentioned by Bourdieu as habitus as a durable system, habitus as a durable system. But here we see that in fact it's mutable. So how you explain this?
Yeah, that's why at the end I said that according to me, Bourdieu is kind of pessimistic. It seems like, because it's durable. He's already, even though he said that he tries to challenge structuralists, but at the end I think he also finally begs to become structuralist, because he finally says that the powerful thing is structure, not the agency. And this research actually shows that the habitus even, it's changing. The habitus is changing. It's durable, but it's immutable. I think it's because also the meaning, what you call it, when the habitus meets with the field, because the field is all different and the capital is also different. This is also, I think to some extent, it's okay, it's correct, because Bourdieu said that habitus and then class, capital, and then produce practice. But according to me, it's also like, it's not easy to understand Bourdieu. It's a kind of inconsistency. So the particular things seems like there is nothing changed, but in fact they changed. Something like that.
My last question. You said that there is rejection of violence in the practice. Yeah? The rejection of violence in the practice of in this pesantren. Yeah? But you are saying also here that there is still a kind of symbolic violence. So could you explain this symbolic violence here in this context and in this occasion?
Thank you. It's also actually my critique to this pesantren, because in terms of public life, in terms of practice, it's inclusive gender. But when you're back to their ontological way of thinking, the habitus, the scheme, they still think that some even still hold the belief that women as a second place and women, and almost all of them that I did interview and I observed, they believe on the some not, but mostly the women's body as their own body as the source, the source of sexuality. So this is why I said that according to, I use Bourdieu's violence, Bourdieu will call this masculine domination, and according to Bourdieu, where there is a domination, there is a violence. So because we are dominated by this kind of worldview, by this kind of habitus, that's been according to Bourdieu, there is also symbolic violence. And that's why I also highlight in my conclusion that if women are also highlighted because of this dominance way of thinking the habitus, then men are also under symbolic violence, because they are constructed gradually with this kind of thinking. That's actually my last statement actually in the conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you. Next is Professor Mark Woodward, please.
I want to say first of all, congratulations, and it has been an honor to be a part of this process for a very long time, and to have watched over the years as this project has grown and come to fruition. It's a very complicated thesis, and it raises a great many issues. So I have really two rather different questions here. You've documented very clearly how the use of identity symbols changes really rather dramatically in a short period of time. In the period between 1950, 1960, and today, to all of us, this looks like a long time, but, you know, in an historical sense, this is only a few moments. And we also know that in some sense or another, symbols are arbitrary, that one works, you know, that you can either change them. And you've shown here that in a lot of ways there's not necessarily a connection between symbols and underlying ideologies. So this is very complicated theoretical stuff. But I have a hypothetical question for you, and it's also a political question at the same time. We've seen the use of symbols, and particularly symbols having to do with women's clothing, change a great deal since the 1970s. Now, given what you know about Bourdieu's theories, about theories of symbolisms, is that change, have we reached a point of the end of a period of change, or are these changes likely to continue? Are they potentially reversible? Could it be that in 20 years we walk around joking, we walk around UGM and we don't see any young women wearing hijab? Is that within a reasonable possibility space?
Thank you, Professor Mark. I think this is a very interesting question, and we need to do survey, I think. Well, I would say, if I can guess, that it could be like reversal. I mean, reversal theory, because you see, like in the 70s, like I show you the pictures, the clothing are very close to Japanese culture, or what I think you would say secular clothing. Either way, secular clothing or abaya or Japanese clothing. But then in 80s, if I can relate to the history of Islamization in Indonesia, actually 80s, 70s, 1970s is a pivotal time when, Indonesian youth coming back from Saudi Arabia, and they brought home Saudi Arabia with Wahhabi Salafi, and then from Egypt, they brought home Ikhwanul Muslimin, and then, at the same time politically, there was no strong control from the government after the collapse of Suharto in 1998. So it's this complicated, phenomena that finally, soon after the collapse of Suharto, in one hand, actually the process of democratization was like, smoothly run, but in the other hand, actually, it was also the first time that fundamentalism, Islamization, and whatsoever you call it, radicalism is like mushrooming everywhere. Like people like Griffith say that even the most vivid phenomena after Suharto era is radicalism, something like that. So, aware or not aware, actually, we cannot just neglect that there is no correlation between these Islamizations and the habitus and the practice of clothing, because it's related to each other. So I would say, because now I think the difference will be changing after the time. So I would guess if the Islamization was not that strong, then people will think different thing about the wear of the clothing. As a fact, you can see now the mom, if they're like let's say 50s, they're covering their hair, but usually they're walking around with their kids, with their teenagers, without covering their hair. So I would say it's going to be like, reversal, because, well, it's depend on how the Islamization will take place and the government role, in this kind of, historical drive.
One more question, and this sort of moves from the level of micro-practice and micro-symbol to more of the level of the implications of what you say for looking at global issues. That in Indonesia and in the world globally, there is this, if you read a lot of things that are written today in Indonesia, you see apa, Salafi Wahhabi terrorists. It's like almost it's all become one word, right? Salafi Wahhabi terrorists, and there's no space in between the words.
Right.
How do you think? What do you? And you've shown, you know, in philosophy of science terms, in terms of people like Karl Popper, very clearly that this equation does not necessarily hold. Well, we know that symbols also have a great deal of power, and this has become a symbolic statement. So what more of intellectual and political praxis is it going to take to undo that unfortunate fusion of Wahhabism and terrorism? How do you go about moving forward from an academic work here in terms of bringing this message to a broader public?
Well, first, actually, Wahhabi in Indonesia, I would say, according to me, is different from Wahhabism in Saudi Arabia. That's the first thing. And the second thing, as I mentioned in my dissertation, that actually theological Wahhabi and political aspect is different. So it doesn't matter whether you have Tawhid, Wahhabi Tawhid, or even Nahdlatul Ulama Tawhid, but if you have this political agenda, then I think this is one of the things that can drive you to do, what you call it, to conduct maybe, or to do violence, symbolic or physical violence. But I would say that we can, according to my research, it's simplification to just, simply say that if you're Wahhabi, then you are terrorist. If you're Wahhabi, then you are, what you call it? If you're Wahhabi, then you are going to kill people. Because, like, if you see, like this Pesantren, they have very strong Tawhid, and the Tawhid is based on Wahhabism. But they are very, what you call it? You can see they are very active in public with the society. They are open-minded. They are even, recognize nationalism. They recognize Japanism. So I would say, come on, you are Orientalists who say that Wahhabism is terrorist. I think that's my conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. And next, I would like to invite Dr. Siti Samsiatun, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I'm very pleased to be here, to be with you, witnessing you are reaching your last stage of your doctorate program here at ICRS. Congratulations. But Inayah, following up to the question of Pak Mark between the association of Wahhabism and violence, and you already saw some of the evidence that Wahhabis doesn't necessarily need to be violent. I think that's a good point here. What I'm asking you now is, in what ways, or in what events, or in what discursive fields are Wahhabis become violent, and in what ways that Wahhabis become non-violent?
Thank you, Ibu Dr. Sanjay, who always remind me about this dissertation and it forced me to finish. Well, I would say that it's not only Wahhabism, but even like some other Islamic movement when their agenda is dealing with politics, so that could be possibly violence. But if they are only theologically, that means that it's also happiness because we are talking about ideology, theology. So it doesn't necessarily relate to violence. That's why at the end, unanswered question, I put, even not only Wahhabi, I would say that if happiness then, deal with politics, they have like another agenda. So happiness is not merely the ideology, they could be possibly doing violence. So this is the case when a movement like here in FPI, Islamic Defender Front, because their political agenda is very clear, let's say they are primarism and something like that. So when it comes to my dissertation on this Pesantren, because they hold the Wahhabi theology. The theology, but not political, like the history, the Wahhabis history when, Muhammad and Abdul Wahhab then finally, worked together later on the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and then, sometimes it's very blurred, it's not clear whether it's politics or ideology, then it's becoming so many violence everywhere. But I would say, if you take that as ideology, and then you have your contextual, happiness, I would say maybe contextual happiness, like you change the happiness, you dispose different happiness, and then, necessary to be violent. Because you have strong tawhid, and then like I mentioned in one of the dissertation of one of the alumni actually, she said, she has a salon, I don't know what is salon in English, it's a beauty salon, She said that, oh, Inayah, my tawhid is, number one. But this is the difference between me and my friend who don't have tawhid. Because I never go to Kemenyan, I never go, I never go to the, what is the word? I never go to somebody else, or to Ali, but I just believe in God. So you see, so there is no violence at all, and she doesn't care if my friends go into this body. It's their belief, but my tawhid makes me, strong, and makes me, makes me capable, to do in both domestic and public lives.
Okay, thank you very much. So in that sense, everyone who has a tendency to political power, whether it is feminist or Wahhabis or anyone, actually have the potentialities to do violence.
Yes.
So be careful, everyone.
Because power can be corrupt.
Yeah, so in that sense, we cannot accuse someone to be fully violent and considering ourselves as non-violent. So I think that's a good point. Okay, now tell us more why you choose Bourdieu theory on the habitus. In particular, I would like to see how the fields, the contestation between the fiqh habitus and also tawhid habitus within BPMWI. So that you said because the fiqh habitus is mostly patriarchal and unwomen friendly, but on the other side, the tawhid is more equal. So how is it the contestation at the discursive level, not on the ground, not on the practice? Is it done by your teachers, maybe by the PIs?
That's very interesting question, thank you. Yeah, this is because first I think you are asking me why did I take happiness as a as a theory to explain it, because as far I learned about theories, I think happiness Bourdieu's theory is very interesting because again, as I earlier mentioned, that he's trying to break through this structuralist, Durkheimian theories where agency has almost no power. And actually, the first time I really hope that I will find the answer, to explain this women from Bourdieu's theory. But at the end, I found that Bourdieu is also very pessimistic, in terms of agency. That way, I took also Khalid actually to complete. So it's like integration is always symbol. Integration between social secular theory and Islamic based theory from Khalid. And the second question about this is very interesting because it's like contestation between in one side the happiness of tawhid and the other side is the happiness of fiqh. But actually, this is also the reason why, as you read in my dissertation, there is like inconsistency between the public and the ideology. In the public, they say that okay, we understand, we share the space, we share the power. But when it comes to the ideology, they say that no, as a women, yes, we are the source of the sexual. The sexual abuse is coming from the fiqh. So fiqh then becomes of the basis for them to have this habitus, ideological things, and the tawhid become the best for them to produce the practice. add that because I don't mention that in my dissertation. But this is good point. Yeah, I think that's my conclusion.
The last question, I would like to the research that ICRS is mostly to contribute to the social solution of the problem. After you've done this research, what would be your suggestion to the lecturers and also students, in particular at UIN Sunan Kalijogo, that sometimes they make demonstrations that also involve violence? How is it?
I would say, okay, I think the vice rector one is here, so thank you very much for Ibu Sekat Ayami to represent the rector here, and my dear is also here. So I would say that, well, this is, I would guarantee because they are political agenda. So I think if I'm a dean, I will say to my students, you are coming here actually as an academician. So if you are coming here and you would like to take your part to be the politician, you have to be a politician academician. Which means that as academician, you are haram, what is haram? You are not allowed to do violence, something like that, because you are not supposed to fall into political agenda. I would say that. Yeah, and I can guarantee that if we go there to the street and then see the students, because many students are coming now, and we ask them, so what is your agenda? It's not about the study, it's about the politics. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibu. The next is Professor Dr. E.P. Rohmaniyah. Please, Prof.
Thank you. Inayah, first of all, I want to express my appreciation to your study. For me, your study is part of, let me say, part of the liberation of Muslim women, let's say. That's why it is very important. Otherwise, it means to academically there's no social and practical relevance. Therefore, after you come to a conclusion that on the one hand, the women's strategy of this pesantren and Alman is successful, on the other hand, it perpetuates the masculine domination. So my first question is, would you like to continue the strategy or to stop?
Well, I believe, in terms of epistemology or axiology, I believe that knowledge is not only for knowledge, but knowledge for human being. That's actually my thought. So, of course, I will never stop. So, as part of my academician, as also, what you call it, the vision to take role in human beings, in developing for the better of human being. Of course, I would go there again with Ibu Siti Samsil, I think from ICRS, and then having kind of training and having kind of or sending like the curriculum, like developing curriculum to, because sometimes it's difficult to see ourselves whether we have negative things, we have weaknesses, but when we do research and we can show them that this is you, this is a picture of you. So sometimes people say, oh, really, is that me? Is that? So I need to talk to people there, and they're, actually the stakeholders actually now are here. So I can just tell them now that this is actually the problem that we face. That basically we still have problem. Because I would say that equal epistemological things is also very important, not only in practical things, but the habitus, equal habitus, equal, what's it called? Equal ontology of equality in the sense of ontological levels of being women is also very important.
My second question, because it seems to me that this critique is rather general critiques to Muslim feminists.
Yes.
On the one hand, you are successful, on the other hand, you are perpetuate the domination. So could you explain, for example, why Inayah and Miss Mary and so on, they are here, they are successful in this movement. But Yai, Marwan, even Margoli, it seems to me not successful enough to produce the influence that we are equal men and women. What do you think? Why?
When talking about the power, actually the man has more power than the man. That's why, I agree with Roger that if you have more power, then that's mean that you have capital, or religious capital. You have symbolic capital. If you have symbolic capital, then you have power to influence the society. You have power to win the field. So in terms of theoretical framework, actually, why the Nyai has been successful because he has power, more power than the men. That's the first. And the second, I don't know, but I would say that women have very important role because women can influence, another women easily. I'm not sure, but this is actually my hypothesis. I would like to see if this is happening. But because they have this, what's it called? There is the change, the chance, sorry. They have the opportunity to see the woman ritually, so it's very easily to instill the new values actually to this woman. That's why I think what has been done by Rohmaniyah to have what they call program on increasing the association of Nyai in Indonesia. I think that's very grateful. I think ICFS and we together maybe can work together with them to have this program to enrich the knowledge of the knowledge and awareness of Nyai in Indonesia because they are powerful.
It's okay. When it is related to power, may I say this? Nyai Miss Mary, they are successful, and Yai Marwan and Margoni was not, because their power is different. Inayah and Miss Mary, they are successful in making their opinion become communal opinion, become communal, collective opinion and collective movement. And Yai Marwan, even Margoni, he doesn't succeed to do this. Do you agree with this evaluation?
Yes, especially in terms of women issues. Yes, so I would say that, even though I took a high authority on the power of agency, but I agree with you that it's impossible as individual to change the structure, to change the society. So like what has been done by Inayah, she created a collective agencies. So individual agency as a facilitator, facilitating the collective agency to make a kind of change, something like that. Thank you.
My last question. What do you think about the effort to give new interpretation to Al-Quran as very, very important power to continue the movement? What do you think about that?
Yes, I think that's actually one of the most important things that we have to do, especially when talking about women. So women have to take part, in interpreting the Quran, because I believe what Asma Balas wrote in her book, The Living Women in the Quran, that according to her, the text of the Quran is polysemic. So it's can be read from many perspectives, depending on who read it. So if women can have this capability, have this, ability to interpret the Quran from their perspective as a woman, so I think, they can change the world. They can create new habits and practices. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. I would like to invite Dr. Vicky Sophia, please.
Congratulations. If you allow me to be here in the panel. sincerely think that we've done a great job in institution research. But I do have a few comments that I'd like to raise. One is, I think we have made quite a contribution in terms of the wonderful language, at least our understanding of one segment of the Islamic body politic, in this case the Wahhabiyya community. So I was just